What's up, everybody? It's your boy J.R. Lee, and I'm back for another special episode of the Fly on the Wall show. And I got a very special guest today. I got a fashionable guest today, and he goes by the name of London Couture. And London, for the people who may not know who you are yet, can you tell me a little bit about yourself and what it is that you do, sir?
Hello, everyone. I am a fashion designer here in Atlanta, Georgia. I specialize in women's formal wear, more in particular celebrations like birthdays, banquets, anniversaries, red carpet affairs, appearances. So I specialize in all of your looks that you need to have a look.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm located right now in the East Point area of Georgia, in historical East Point. The studio is London Couture Studios.
Are you a native of Georgia, Atlanta?
I'm a native of Richmond, Virginia. So I've been in Atlanta, Georgia, for 4 years now.
4 years. Okay, that's nice. What brought you to Atlanta?
My career. I had a sense of knowing that Atlanta, Georgia is one of the next Black Hollywood locations. With film and music being booming here, I thought it would be an amazing idea to move here. So that's what charged my relocation.
Absolutely. And when it comes to fashion, did you always want to get into fashion? How did you know that you wanted to be a fashion designer? How did that spark your interest?
Well, I always had an interest in art in general, not necessarily fashion design, but I've always had an interest in art. I've been a great illustrator since I was literally a kid. I used to ace all my art classes, music. I was always into those things, but it wasn't until I hit high school. Of course, before that time, I was interested in fashion generally, but it wasn't until I hit high school, my junior year, till I was like, okay, fashion design is definitely a thing. So at that time, my junior year, I just started crafting. I started making clothes out of hot glue, safety pin and stuff together, and just being real crafty and creative.
Absolutely. So when was it? So do you do the cut and sew yourself? Are you into cut and sew?
Yes, I do the entire process myself. The life cycle starts as an idea, in which turns into a sketch. Through your inspiration and your ideas and our conversation, our consultations, we turn it into a sketch. And then we talk about the fabrication or the textiles. Once we finalize that, it becomes a product. So after that, I create a muslin, a sample for the client. And then we turn that sample or the muslin into a pattern. Then I make the pattern, and then the pattern becomes the actual garment. And of course, in between there, we have fittings and things of that nature. But for the most part, I do the entire process by myself.
That's amazing. Is there do you have a particular favorite part of that process that kind of excites you the most?
I like the illustration process. And then I like the fittings. I like when the client comes to the fittings and I can do markups and pin here and do style lines on the muslin. That's probably my favorite part.
Absolutely. That's amazing, man. And so, in your own words, fashion, a lot of people describe fashion in their own words. They have different definitions. What's your definition of fashion for you?
Oh, my definition is the expression of self. It's the expression of your soul, letting people know who your soul is. Beyond what they see on the outside. So I really believe that fashion is the creative expression of your soul.
Absolutely. I think that's a beautiful answer, man. Are there any people that, of course, are there any people that you worked with quite a few people so far? I've seen some people that you collaborated on your Instagram page, congratulations to that. Are there any people that you've worked with that kind of damn, I've come so far. I really did that.
Oh, man. I have to say in particular, we've actually been working together here lately. Kash Doll. I remember when I first moved to Georgia, I was bumping her music. Me and my nieces, we would just bump her music. And so just recently I had a moment where I was like, whoa, I went from bumping the music and trying to figure out, where I fit here in Atlanta, to literally working with some of the artists that I admire most, or that I've always wanted to work with. So that was a moment. I remember another pivotal moment was when I worked with Lil Kim the first time.
Wow.
And wow, that was mind-boggling. Because of course, if you're into fashion, that Lil Kim is an icon in fashion.
Yeah, she be serving the looks, absolutely.
Yeah. She was one of the first artists to be endorsed by a major fashion house, and so because of that, she's an icon. She has set so many trends. That is not even funny, but that was another moment that I had that was so pivotal, and I was like in awe.
That's amazing, man. Is there anybody that you haven't worked with yet, knock on wood, that you eventually want to work with? Like, what's your dream? Like,
oh, absolutely. I have a long list. I have a long list. Angelina Jolie, Taraji Henson. Oh man. Issa. Oh man. It's a long list.
Absolutely. Hey, absolutely. So, like, what about them that draws your interest? Like, is it like their personality? Is it their
womanhood? It's their womanhood. It's their elegance. It's the grace that they show in their looks and in their poiseness. It's how they articulate fashion. Those women are women who, they may not absolutely adore fashion the way I do, but they have a vision within the fashion world, and I just like how they appreciate it. I like how they're able to articulate it on themselves. Taraji definitely being number one. I cannot wait to put my hands on her.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite people, Taraji. Absolutely.
Yeah, I love her so much. She's definitely a huge inspiration.
Absolutely, man. I definitely could see you working with Taraji in the very near future, right? And so, man, like, as an entrepreneur, it gets very difficult, right? Was there any like defining moment for you where it's just like you felt like, oh man, like I don't know if this is for me, but then you had to like, all right, let's snap out of it, like let's get it together. Like, what was that defining moment for you?
I'm not gonna lie, I have a lot of defining moments. I have a lot of defining moments. Where do I start? As an entrepreneur, especially if you're someone who's creative, I always tell people I'm very straight up. I'm very transparent. I'm not a businessman. I'm a creator. I'm a creator. I am an innovator. I'm a creative, and I do the business because it has to be done. And I have a lot of defining moments. I mean, I have defining moments maybe once a week, maybe twice a week. Yeah, because it gets hard, As a creative, sometimes it's hard to see the road because you're focused on the little details in the road, not necessarily focusing on where the road leads to. And so it gets tough. Sometimes you have to, smack yourself, talk to yourself, cry a little bit, then get back on course. And so I get that all the time. I'm not gonna lie, I get that all the time. But I think the beauty in it is being able to put your blinders on after that moment and just see straight ahead and just keep going. I remember I made a joke on Facebook quite a while back saying I quit every day. I quit fashion every day. And every day I'm going to get back up and do it again, And so I tell people, don't mind me. I'm just quitting.
Every moment, absolutely.
And then I get back up and do it again. So I quit fashion like 2-3 times a week. I ain't gonna lie.
No, but that's real. That's honest. A lot of people are not gonna admit that. You just see it looks like it's perfect on the outside. You see the big clients, you see the beautiful pieces, and you just see the glam. But not everybody is willing to admit that, this thing is hard. This thing is hard.
It's very, very, very hard. And people see, like, fashion is such a superficial industry. It's an expensive industry. It's a $300 billion industry. However, it is very superficial and it's very hard. And a lot of times looking at the glamour and the rhinestones and the feathers and the shiny fabrics can have you think that it's so easy and it's so, like it's just a piece of cake. And it's not, like you literally have to be in this game because it is a passion. Those people that get handouts and that are given stuff and that scam to get stuff, and those people won't understand where I'm coming from. Right. I'm coming for the people who understand, hey, I'm doing this from rock bottom. Yeah. I come from this and I got to take my little 2 pennies and make it look like that. I'm talking about those type of people. And so it gets hard, but like I said, the beauty in it is being able to put those blinders back on once you quit and be like, look, let's go, you know?
Absolutely. How do you find balance with it all? Like, what are some things that you do? Like, do you have any like practice, maybe spiritual practice? Do you, exercise? Do you like, do you meditate? What are some of the things you do to kind of keep yourself grounded?
So I do 2 things. One is definitely the prayer and meditation.
Absolutely.
Oh Lord, if you don't pray and meditate, I don't know how you're doing it. I don't know how you're doing it. A lot of times I cut on gospel music. Working late at night is a thing for me. I like working when it's dark and when nobody's calling my phone. So at night, I like to put on my TD Jakes or my Michael Todd or my Cheryl Brady, and I just let it play. And if I'm not in like that type of mood, sometimes I'll just work in silence and just let my mind race and let it spin until it can't spin no more. And then I'm clear. Other times I will stop orders and I'll just be creative and create something that I want to put out, something that, so that I can release my creative juices, because you can get clouded very fast. I average a lot of clients a week. From the website, from Instagram to walk-ins to my high-profile clients. And so it can be a bit much. So to pull that creativity back in and then to ground myself a little bit more, I'll listen to gospel, or I'll listen to some motivational speaking, or I'll create something to give myself a creative outlet.
Well, that's amazing, man. I'm glad you have these different practices to kind of have that, that balance for yourself. And, shout out to your amazing team. Shout out to your assistant Ashley was able to help me curate this whole conversation. For you, how important is it to have a team to be able to help you? For the areas that you need help in. Maybe the areas that you may are lacking in because you have to put your time and your energy in other places. How important is a team for you?
Well, like the old saying, there's no I in team. A team is very important, especially when you're on the brink of a breakthrough.
Yes.
Team is very important because you can't do everything yourself. You can't handle the business, handle the clients, handle the communication, the marketing, the creative process, the sourcing, going to pick up fabrics, answering the phone. You can't do all of that by yourself. So it is very important to have a team. And Jamila has been amazing. She's my executive assistant, and she has been awesome.
Shout out to her.
It's very important in all caps to have a team.
Very important. Absolutely, man. And so, you may not remember, but I actually, met you by complete accident a couple months ago.
I remember.
Absolutely, in the fabric store, man. And, you said something very important that I don't think a lot of people really pay attention to. You was like, I can get a fabric in here and I can make it look like $1 million, right? How important is it to be resourceful, especially when it comes to fashion?
You can't work with me if you're not resourceful. That's how important it is. Oh man, you have to be so resourceful. I think a lot of times what people don't understand is when you look at top-notch iconic houses like, Gucci and Givenchy and Prada and Balenciaga and Chanel and, Louis Vuitton. And I mean, you name it.
Right.
A lot of times they're designing their own fabrics.
Right.
Most of the time they're designing their fabrics. Most of the time they're having stuff brought in from whatever country. Right. And the general public does not understand that. So it gets hard when, when you come to us with a particular design and you're like, I like that fabric. So it gets hard, trying to articulate designs and style sometimes. So you have to be so creative in the production process. Like, you have to be very resourceful. Dyeing fabrics, hand beading fabrics. A lot of times you'll see gowns on TV and you won't be able to find that fabric in the store. You can't go to Joann's and find that, you have to be so resourceful. And that's something that I always tell, like, my assistants and like other designers when I am connecting with them, like, you have to just be resourceful. You have to figure it out. And that's something that I always pride myself on because I just always figure it out, you know. I think the basis of my figuring it out is that I'm a person who likes quality. I like good quality looks and things. So I can guarantee a good quality garment. Absolutely. Everything else we'll figure out.
Nah, you gotta definitely do that. Gotta be resourceful in anything that you do, man. And dealing with some of these clients, right? I'm sure it can be quite stressful. Have you ever had to I'm not gonna say, have you ever had, you don't have to say no names or anything, but have you ever had to check a client or fire a client? Like, you know what? My energy is worth way more than this dollar amount. Have you ever had those moments for you?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't typically say you're fired or, I don't want to work with you. I just give them, some professional terminology like, unfortunately, we're booked out, or unfortunately, we have maxed our clientele for the week. I'll say something like that. But yeah, you get that all the time. And clients are very entitled. That comes with the territory. If you're not open to entitled clients, entitled artists, entitled celebrities, entitled assistants, you can't do this. Like I said before, it's a very superficial lane. It's all about what you look like. It's all about what you're creating. It's all about the next piece you can put out. And if you can't deal with the entitlement, that is not a lane for you. But yeah, you always have to deal with that. I mean, I have clients that call me at 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning, which is why I'm so glad I have an assistant now. But
someone is getting called.
Now, when they call, I'm good. I handle that very well. I just don't answer the phone, but, absolutely. You have to fire clients all the time. And you have to train people how to work with you too. A lot of times you have to train people to work with you, clients included, because a lot of times they don't understand this process if they've never gone through this process. So it is up to you and how you handle those situations to teach the client on how to work with you.
Yeah, train people, teach people how to treat you accordingly. I think that's definitely a bar. And in your industry, how important is networking for you? And do you network at all, or network, however you call it?
I don't network the traditional way. Going to events, passing out cards. I don't network the traditional way because I'm such a. I don't want to say I am a introvert because I'm kind of not, but in a way, I'm kind of to myself. Right. In a way. So I don't necessarily network the traditional way, but when I'm out grocery shopping, running errands, I am the type of person that is going to talk to you. If I overhear that you need help, or if I overhear that you're trying to figure something out and I've done it before, or, I know what I'm talking about, I'm going to give you my input.
People call it air hustling, but I think that's one of the best ways to network. You're like, I think I can help you with that, and just insert yourself.
Yeah, so I don't typically network the traditional way because I'm not like a party person. I don't like being around large groups of people and large crowds. Even beyond COVID, I've never been interested in it. So, and actually my executive assistant, she's pushing me into that now. I know she's always fussing at me about, you have to do this. And I'm like, okay.
Well, I appreciate you for being on the show. I appreciate that.
Thank you for having me. It's been fun so far.
Absolutely, man. And man, I had this one question I was going to ask you, man, but one of the questions that I like to ask all of my guests that come on this show is their definition of success, right? Now, success, it may vary depending on where you are in your life. It doesn't have to be monetary at all. What is your definition of success?
That's a good question because it is different person to person. My definition of success is just being able to achieve the goals that you set for yourself. Not the superficial, goal that, everyone has set for you. But my definition would definitely be being able to achieve the goals that I have set for myself. And if I've achieved those goals on my own, or whether I've gotten a little assistance, I feel like that is success. So yes, I do consider myself to be successful.
Definitely, absolutely. And where do you see London Couture in the next 3 to 5 years?
booming.
Oh, absolutely. I know that's right. Absolutely.
Just getting better. Just getting better. There's no point where you're actually gonna be like there. So just see myself getting better, you know. I don't like to kind of dictate, you know, where I'm gonna be in a year, in 5 years, but I do like to say, I want to be better. I want to be better than where I am today. I do want to build my clientele more. I want to dive more into working with actresses and some of the top-notch stylists, and perfecting my gift, perfecting the brand, perfecting the marketing, and, you know, just kind of really zoning in on the brand as it is. And building my own fashion house. If you didn't know, I opened my own fashion design studio 2 months ago, and I'm very excited about it. Well, almost 2 months ago. I'm very excited about it. So just being better.
Absolutely, absolutely. Do you have any influences? Like, is there anybody, like any stylist or any particular designer influence you or inspires you? Do you have any muses? Anything like that?
Yeah. Well, that's a good question. I'm my muse.
Absolutely.
I'm my own muse. I'm kidding. Olivier for Balmain has been a huge inspiration. He's been a huge inspiration, and sometimes I look for him and his brand for a guide or for inspiration. I just love how he is able to make any woman look young and fresh and fun and daring and trendy, but still classic and still sexy. I love all those things about that brand, and what he brings as a creative director. Who else? I'll just say that one. I won't give too many. I'll say that one, but I love what he does.
Is there any stylists per se that you want to collaborate that you haven't collaborated with?
Lux Law, I'm coming for you, brother. Zarina, I'm coming for you, girl.
Absolutely.
I would love to work with Lux Law. I would love to work with Zarina. Those are some of my faves right now. I'm stalking them on their Instagram platforms.
It's okay. That's good. That's good business.
So yeah, those are, for right now where I am, I would love to connect with those stylists and just work with them. But what I'm doing with my brand is I'm actually putting out my first collection.
Ooh, that's
very soon. So they'll have something to see very, very, very soon.
Oh man, what can people expect from this collection that you drop very, very soon?
Powerful, sexy, exotic, different. That is a big word for me. Different. I know it sounds kind of, you know, kindergarten, but different will be a big word for me in this collection. I'm showing a side of me that I have not shown before. I'm being more daring. I'm being more forefront. I'm being more bold. How many more adjectives can I give? I'm going head game in. Like, I'm going very, very daring, very different.
Absolutely. Do you think that you're competitive at all? Like, have you ever seen somebody like, oh, I gotta do better than that? Like, are you competitive at all?
I'm competitive with myself. I don't look at any other brands on my level. I don't try to mimic. I don't try to feed the trend. I don't feed the trend. I'm a trendsetter. So I don't feed the trend. I don't look to any others. Like I said, Olivier is one of my faves and definitely a huge inspiration to me right now. But other than that, I'm mostly inspired by my emotion and how I feel, my moods, and that's how I create. So, yeah.
Absolutely. You got to be your own competition, man. And, you know, speaking about your emotions and your moods, right? How important, it's like the last question I'm going to ask. I'm not going to keep you too much longer.
Oh, hey, I'm here for the questions. This is fun.
Oh, cool. Okay, cool then. How important is environment and energy for you?
It's very important. I can't work with chaos. I don't work well with like high volume workspaces, I guess. And that's something that I recently learned. I don't work well with a lot of like in and out, loud talking. I just like my soft music. A lot of times in the studio, I have like my runway shows playing on the plasma on the flat screen. But other than that, it's very, very, very important to me. A lot of times I'll work with motivational speaking in the background. Sometimes I even work with prayer going. It's very important to me. I cannot work in chaos. As far as the inspiration of it, it definitely has to be inspiring. Colors, windows, fabrications, hanging. Like there has to be some element of art and fashion and beauty somewhere.
That's dope. That's dope, man. And you know, I know that you mostly design for the ladies. Do you ever make men pieces as well, or just for
I do men pieces by like special order. So like if I have a client whose husband or boyfriend or son or whoever wants something, then I'll determine just based on what it is. But for right now, I am completely zoning away from menswear so that I can 100% zone into women's wear. I love the silhouette of a woman's body. I love how dainty and ladylike women are. I love the curves and the shapes. So I really want to like engulf in that right now. So no, I won't be taking like any like orders from menswear no time soon.
Absolutely. Do you travel for your clients? Have you ever got like flued out?
I do all the time. It's a normal here. We recently went to the VMAs, which was nice. I went to Vegas for a client. That was nice. I went to New York City for a client. That was great. I went to Charlotte for a client recently. That was awesome. I really enjoyed that. Actually, I'll talk about that. So I went to Charlotte because a wedding planner who's like / wedding stylist, if you will, she styles brides. So she called me one evening, it's probably about 5, and she's like, I need you. So I'm like, okay, what do you need? So she's like, I have a bride. Her reception gown did not come for the wedding. So you're the only person that we knew could pull it off. So I was like, okay, when is the wedding? Tomorrow.
What? Okay, I'm gonna let you finish. Tomorrow.
So I'm like, okay, well, that doesn't seem too crazy. I get a lot of overnight looks. So for me at that point, it's just like finding the right look for you because we can produce. We got about an hour before the fabric stores close. So I'm like, okay, well, she's like, but here's the kicker. She's in Charlotte. I'm like, what? So, and that was the kicker, that she was in Charlotte. So the fact that the fabric stores were closing at like 6, that left me no room to do anything. So I developed a plan. I sat in David's Bridal all night looking at gowns. From probably about 6:30 till 9, I was in David's Bridal just seeing if I could find a gown for her because I'm like, I don't know if this is gonna work. So I sat there, figured it out. I prayed about it. Prayer is always first. If I don't pray, my looks are not coming out right. So if you got a look that didn't come out right, I ain't pray.
That's real though.
I'm kidding, but I'm serious. But so I came up with a plan. So I talked to her. I was like, okay, listen, this is what we can do. I can't guarantee nothing, but this is what we can do. Do you want to take the sacrifice? We had less than a day because at that point it's almost 9 o'clock. So what I did was I never went to bed that night because I didn't want to oversleep because I had been up working anyway. So I didn't go to sleep. I got up like about 6 a.m., showered, packed a bag. I had everything that I could possibly think of. Then I came up with a look with the stylist and told her this is what we can do. So I got on the road. Well, I got to the fabric stores first, got everything I needed, all the beading, the fabrics, the lace, everything that I needed. I got it when the doors of these fabric stores opened.
Right.
And the amazing part was the 2 stores that I needed to go to were literally down the street from each other. And so I had to drive like about 30 minutes away to the stores, but the stores that I needed to go to were literally on the same street.
And they probably don't open till like maybe 8, 9 o'clock in the morning. They probably don't even open till like probably like 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah. So first of all, they did not open until 9, and then one store did not open until 10. So, and mind you, we got to go to Charlotte, and it's a Saturday.
Did you fly or did you drive?
No, we couldn't fly because I had to make sure that I could take all of my equipment. You know, I don't have time to go through security. And
it's like a 4 hour drive, right?
It's 3.5 hours. 3.5 hours. Well, it was 3.5 for me. So I got on the road at like 11:30, and I just prayed. I was like, Lord, you know this lady need her dress. Help a brother out. Got on the highway, and I sped the entire way there. Then I got to a point where there was like traffic. So I got on the shoulder, and I drove the shoulder for about a mile. And after that, I got it. So I got there at like 3:30 on the dot. Her wedding started at 4 o'clock, right? So I get to her bridal suite. I can't remember if she knew or if she did not know that, you know, she had the dress situation, but I think her wedding party was changing, either her or somebody was changing. So she had to have a dress. So I got there to her bridal suite. I set up, I found my table, got my chair, and to set everything up. So here comes the bride walking in. So my chest is in my feet. So she's walking in. So she's like, hey. So at that point, they did tell her what had happened. So she was like, okay, you think you can do it? And I'm like,
hold on. At this point, the dress wasn't made yet, was it?
The dress had not even been started at 4 o'clock. At 4 o'clock, I hadn't even pulled the fabric out the bag yet. All I had set up was the table and the machines. So she's like, you think, because I didn't want to start pulling stuff out then, because I'm like, you go, do your thing, walk down the aisle, you know. She's like, you got it? Yeah. So as soon as she walked out the door, I took my shoes off, I started unpacking stuff, and we got on it. And I was literally freehanding everything. Like, I didn't have time for patterns. I didn't have time to really measure anything out. I literally just started cutting. In less than 2 hours, we had a gown. Yeah, I'll send you the video, so you know, if you want to post it. But yeah, in less than 2 hours, we had an entire like wedding gown for her reception with all types of intricate beading and everything.
Wow. Like, okay, I'm pretty sure your heart was probably pounding like during that moment. How did you feel after when she put it on and it was perfect? How did you feel at that moment? Like, how did you feel?
I'm not gonna lie, I've had a lot of those moments before, so I'm kind of used to that. Hey, do I walk through the valley of the shadow of death? I'm like so used to that. So I was scared. I was just trying to hold back like the intense anxiety, but I was terrified. I did not want to let this lady down. Like, it was a moment where I was like, I should have never done this. Let me just get these people their money back. Like, I was like, no, we can't turn now because I'm her only option. Like, I was terrified. But when everything finished, so she came in because they were changing after the first dance. So she comes in, she's like, you ready? And I'm like, yeah. And she's like,
yeah, she's probably like,
and she just could not believe that I had made this dress when she left the room. So we get her in it. One part of the dress, like you could kind of see, you know, she wanted to just kind of hide some areas. So I was like, okay, you don't like the part? Okay, cool. I went to the table. I created like a little peplum in less than 30 seconds, sold it on the dress. Let's go.
That just speaks to like, you know, you put in your hours, that you're an expert in your craft for you to be able to do that without any time at all.
Yeah, there was no time. Like her family, her friends were just, words couldn't express. Like, they were so thankful. I got thanked by so many people. It was amazing. And I felt the first emotion was, that was the first emotion. And then the second emotion was just, I'm hungry. Feed me. But at that point, they're like, okay, whatever you want.
Oh, speaking about that, I'm not sure. Did you see that article about the photographer who like deleted the wedding pictures because they didn't feed?
Yes, I did see that. I did. Yeah. Listen, hey, you got to do what you got to do. Listen, I thought that was so mean. If you ask me, I thought that was so mean, especially with such a discounted rate. Like, just give that man a plate. Just give that
Yeah,
man
like
a plate.
it was a terrible
Yeah,
experience.
that was so mean. But
They're supposed to be their friends and stuff. It was like, wow.
yeah, it was very mean, and he did what he had to do.
Absolutely. So before that dress you made, I'm sure you prayed for that one, or throughout the whole time.
I was praying the entire time, literally, like the entire time, like Jesus, like you literally praying the entire time.
Wow, man. But
that was a moment to know that like you literally like saved somebody's wedding, because her gown was so huge and extravagant. She definitely needed something to change in. Like the gown was huge. And like the arms of it, like she had like draping on the arms and they dragged the floor and they were like so long. So she needed something to change in. So it was definitely a good feeling to know that I was able to help this lady.
Absolutely saved the day. Are there any clients that like you guys still keep in contact? You guys talk regularly? You know, any clients like that, special clients where it's just like it's just such a relationship. It's more than just, you know, a transaction for you?
Oh, absolutely. Oh, absolutely. That's like all of my clients. Like everyone that comes here kind of turns into family per se, unless you're just coming like, I just want one look and we done. That never really happens. But all of my clients kind of become family. You know, I'm young, and what I know about the business of fashion is what I teach myself. You know, I went to school for fashion, but of course, you know, at some point you elevate beyond your formal training. And at that point, it's just basically what you research. If you get into more formal training, or if you get mentors, and so a lot of my clients have become like mentors, or I won't say friends, because I don't like to necessarily befriend my clients, but they have kind of become like family. Yeah. So
relationships are key, man. And
yeah, you know, I like the family thing. You know, I won't say friend, because that's a super duper strong word, but some of my clients have definitely become family, to where if I need anything, you just call.
That's good. That's good, man. And you know, for any like up and coming designers out there, or maybe someone who they like fashion, they want to get into it, but they don't really know how to get into like what they want to do, what are some tips or suggestions that you would recommend for them?
Getting into fashion, I would say check out your local area where you are to see if there are any schools or programs, community programs, or churches that offer some type of teaching in fashion. And then I would find some type of business classes where you can take business, because the thing is, you can be a creative all day. Once you take that first order, once you take somebody's money, and in return you are to provide a service, you then become a business person. And so I would recommend to also find business classes to get into. Find some lady that's been sewing all her life, some guy that's been sewing, some tailor, seamstress. See if you can work with local like cleaners to do their alterations. And that's a great way to start to learn how to sew too, is alterations. Yeah, I would say that's a great way to start.
Absolutely. Do you offer any mentorship yourself? Do you have any people that come to you looking for guidance and you're like, hey, I'll help you out, like tutelage or anything like that?
I won't say mentorship, but I do have people that do come to me often for assistance, for guidance, for advice, and counsel. And I welcome that. You know, as much information as I can give, I'll give. I'm very secure in who I am and my gift, so I don't mind providing information. It's really just like the time. Time is very limited for me because I do so much. But absolutely, I have people that I kind of counsel or give advice to.
Absolutely, man. That's amazing. And, you know, London, I just want to say this was an amazing interview. I just want to say thank you so much for your energy, great personality. You had me laughing the entire interview. I just want to say thank you for the opportunity. I wish you nothing but success, brother. Like, it was a great interview. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you for having me. Thank you so much. I really enjoyed this.
Absolutely, man. You have a great rest of your day. Thank you so much for rushing back. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
All right. Have a good one.